Oh my God, Stacy.
Hey!
We are back.
60.
We are
Woo!
probably the best known Rocky podcast in the
Ever.
world. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I just got an email, my inbox, beyond the solar system. And it looks like it could be from aliens, actually.
They exist.
They exist.
We have proof now.
we do have proof now. And people out there might be saying, what do aliens have to do with Rocky? Because Mike and Stacy, as you've always told us, this is a podcast about fans and Rocky. Well,
Right.
You'll notice there's only two of us on this podcast.
Where did he go?
One of us is not with us. He didn't make it. He's not dead. He's
No.
still alive, but he
No.
was abducted by an alien mothership.
Yes.
And we think Anthony is sending us messages from the... No, I'm kidding. Of
I
course.
have pictures. Don't
got the
lie.
pictures?
I have the pictures. I'm posting them.
We've got to do the conspiratory,
Yeah.
program here.
It's fun.
No, if truth be told, Anthony's out with us tonight because unfortunately our home office was really under the gun. The new location we're going to go to didn't work, and Anthony, he actually flew out there. We're not going to disclose where it is in case it doesn't work out, but Anthony went out, and while he was out there, the thing about Anthony I love, Stacy, is that he travels everywhere with his plumbing tools.
He does.
I mean, he has got to be the world's greatest plumber.
Yeah,
So he's staying at a Holiday Inn out there. No need to be extravagant where we stay when we're on the road. And Anthony, he just sent us a message that a boiler the size of Rhode Island blew at the new home office, and he's out there fixing it. Anthony, we love you. We miss you.
We miss
but
you.
We're relatively sure you'll be back in time for our interview later in the show. I'd almost bet dollars to donuts you're going to be here on time.
Yeah. Crossing our fingers.
Exactly right. Exactly. Now, Stacy, that may seem like the most exciting thing that's going to happen on this show, but it's not.
No.
The most exciting thing so far is you've got some purchases. What have you been up to?
Ready? I got them.
You got the card set from the Sly Stallone Shop. Look at you.
Miss Adrian.
There she is, Adrian, Paulie. There's the king of Montefisto and the Siberian Bull.
I was so happy.
What's on the back, Stacy? Does each one have a different write-up, or
Let's see.
Each one the same?
Yep, Ivan Drago, 6'5", 261, reach 65 inches. I can't quite read it because my glasses are still bad. But yes, Ivan Drago, Olympic gold medalist, and it gives him a little blurb on the back of each one.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, how are you going to display those?
I'm waiting for someone to send me a poster. And once I receive that poster, I'm going to be unveiling a new backdrop, and then I'll be moving all my little tins around.
We got to make that happen.
And then I'll be adding these at that time.
Wonderful. Jim Toscano will be very happy to have a poster in the background.
It's going to be there. And then you all know that I have this mug. Well,
I love that mug.
There's now a matching one. I got the black one.
Ebony and ivory live together in Stacy's shelf of coffee mugs.
You're such a goober. I
don't sing.
And I got a couple keychains.
Oh, nice.
That.
Okay, it's Italian, nice.
Yeah, and I got
the Rocky
that.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I thought, so here it is. You know how you lose something and then you buy it again and you find it. So I'm like, I'll buy another one of these. And then of course, as soon as I ordered it, like the next day I found it. And
now, does that rubber bracelet grab the fine hairs on the arm or no?
It doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't. And I've taken this, I thought for sure, see the white, I've showered with this thing on. And I'm like, I better not, because that might come off. It hasn't come off.
Holds up, huh?
I was like, I'm pretty impressed with that. And then the other two things, I hope my husband doesn't watch this opening because I went a little crazy. But anyway, so there's two more things because, you know.
Wow, you did go a little overboard. That's great, but not really. Oh, I like that.
Yeah. I
Rambo.
yeah, I wanted to get a Rambo thing, and then this was the one I've been waiting on, and so I'll be informing my husband that that his Christmas gift is complete,
Ah.
'cause and so I got this sweatshirt.
Oh, I really like that.
Yeah.
Danny Watley's gonna really like that one too.
Yes, yes.
Rocky 3 is his favorite. Oh, that's awesome. What's on the back of it?
And then it has my ear thing, and then it has
Oh,
Rocky
it's got
on the
Rocky on
back.
the back.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Isn't that
That is pretty
awesome?
cool. Yeah.
So that's the end of my purchase, I think. Yeah. Yeah, that's everything. And
Well,
then as soon as I order, 2 days later, the 25% off coupon comes out. I'm like, "Seriously?"
that's how it always is.
Yeah, that's how I swear they do that on purpose. But anyway, that's all at the slystalloneshop.com. Fun stuff.
There you go. I mean,
Yep.
if we had that store in the 80s, my God, what a candy store that is for
Yeah.
Stallone fans.
Yeah,
It's
for
just
sure.
brilliant.
For sure.
So, speaking of Stallone fans,
Yes.
our last special episode was what was it titled?
It is movie review, Rocky versus Drago movie review.
And an interesting thing is happening. What's going on with that?
So, we check, we get, 300, 400 views, and then I'm checking in what, 3 days, we are almost at 18. We're at this moment 1787 views. It is
Wow.
more that is more than 1,000 more than Sly's our initial one. Sly's birthday was around 750 or 800 last time I looked, and we are at 1787. By the time this comes out, this episode 16 comes out, we will be over 2,000.
That's crazy.
It's growing by, I don't know if it's analytics or like once you hit certain milestones, maybe YouTube pushes it out. I think there's, when you hit certain milestones, I thought that YouTube sort of promotes it somehow, or it becomes more visible, because we've never had an episode grow like this.
Well, I also think you had said something earlier before we were recording, Rocky versus Drago. Everybody had been
right
Googling it.
Yeah.
So on YouTube, they're Googling the Rocky versus Drago documentary that Sly, and we've all been hyping up a lot. So
Right.
I think that had a lot to do with it. But that tells us to be well aware whenever we title
Yes.
for YouTube these episodes, we should title them with something that is
trending or
that could possibly be something others would type in. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. That's great though. 17.
Yeah.
That's good.
I just thank you to everyone who's finding it, and we've gotten a lot more people subscribe.
That's
to us.
That's really good, because ultimately that's kind of what we're hoping to do, is just get more people to follow us, so more of those people will tell us their stories, and we could put them on this podcast so they could talk about how the character of Rocky has influenced them profoundly, like you, me, Anthony, and anyone else that we've had on our previous 15 shows or 14 shows. So that's keep growing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's so exciting. That was fun.
Now, talking about exciting, this is an exciting time of year for me, because there's really like 2 holidays that I look forward to. My birthday. I think my birthday should be a holiday, but
of course. Duh.
Sue always makes it a holiday, which is nice. But and Christmas. So I bypass everything else and just go right to Christmas. Now, some years I've put my tree up around September. One year it was up in August. So, and that's a true story. But anyways, the tree is up. Upstairs is all decorated, and I'm really, really excited and happy, because I'm not a summer guy. I don't like the heat. I don't do very well. And when I was going through my ornaments, my special ornaments, I have a bunch of them, but I have 2 that I thought would be appropriate for this. So my first one is a pair of little Chuckies.
Oh, cool.
Right? Chuck replicas. So we hang that.
I love those.
And this one is this is my favorite.
Oh, nice.
Rocky win ornament.
Oh, that's
unbelievable.
Cute. That's cute. Where did you find that?
So Sherry Hutchinson, she was someone who had taken the very first bus tour we ever did, a Rocky bus tour in 2010. And then I think she came back in 2011. And she really was, is a great Rocky fan. Very interesting person. And she's very artistic. So she had made that for me and sent it to me several years back. And every year it goes on the tree. I just I love it.
Your tree, tell me about is it is the whole thing Rocky ornament? It's gotta be. Is it Rocky ornaments
You would
top to
think
bottom?
if it I mean, Sue says that it can't be that way because that it's ridiculous or that it's moronic or that she can't show it in Christmas photos. I loved when Farley did that. Chris Farley would always do that.
Yes, that's it. Yes, I
Yeah.
remember that.
So, anyways, no, these are the only things Rocky on it.
Okay.
I have those. I'm going to say a word, and I don't know if I'm saying it correctly.
Uh-huh.
Swarovski.
Oh, Swarovski crystals?
Swarovski.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, Stallone made a Swarovski ornament to
Really?
raise money years back about when remember Sophia had the heart thing going on
Yes.
when she was born and all that. And
Yes.
so after a certain point, he sold these ornaments or he worked with people to sell them. And Jennifer was on not QVC, but one of the QVC home shopping network. I can't remember which one. And one Christmas they were selling them, and so I bought one, and so that's on the tree also. And that's it for Rocky. That's when we got home, we got the tree from Costco's, and when I came home, the first thing I put on was I drooped 2 red boxing gloves over it and the championship belt in the middle, and that's all that I put on the tree. Hey, we got it. This is all that we're gonna decorate. This tree will knock you out. Yeah, right. So, but anyways, yeah. So that's the Christmas plug that I may even talk about Christmas a little bit more as the episodes go on. But
sure.
There's a big, the holidays have been involved in the Rocky movies for a variety of reasons. Thanksgiving is a natural time for a lot of families to watch Rocky. Obviously, because on Thanksgiving, it's Thursday to Rocky, but Thanksgiving to everybody else, he takes Adrian on their first date. So that's a natural way to start off Thanksgiving. But also, A Christmas Carol is playing when Rocky is sitting in the chair right before his training montage, and he and Adrian Paulie comes in drunk, and I don't raise you to go with no scum bum. Yeah, you want to hit on me? Come on, I'll break both you off so they don't work no more. 2 on Gazzo. Gazzo's too busy. 2.
Keep going. I love your Paulie.
Thank you. I'm gonna do a Paulie thing. I'm looking for a Paulie hat because I can't. I really have a funny thing I want to do. Hopefully I can find one. But the one thing that for the longest time I didn't know until I got a DVD and you could do the headings, the writing. And so when Rocky has him by the collar and he's got him on the couch, and instead of Rocky pummeling him, Paulie's drunk and he's all disheveled and he weasels something out of his mouth. And I never knew what he said. Do you know what he says?
Oh no, I like now. If you say it, I'll remember. But I'm not
Paulie.
Every line like that.
Paulie goes, "I can't all meet no more." But the way he says it, it's so scrunched and slurred, like a drunk would say it.
Yes,
I can't all meet no more. And he's asking Rocky to get him out. Help him.
Meet no more.
I can't all meet no more. And I always thought that was kind of interesting. That's what he says. And then of course, you've got Rocky 4 takes place on Christmas Day. You've got Rocky 5. Christmas Vacation is playing when Clark can't get the lights to work and he beats up the Santa display, right? That's playing on the Balboa TV. So, things like that I just think are really throwbacks to the holiday season. There was always in the wintertime when he came to Philly to film. So, I know Rocky 3 was like the spring, but you get the gist of it.
I do. It's funny that I love that Thanksgiving scene. And it's when they walk outside and, that whole scene where he says, how I said that didn't bother me. He goes, well,
great scene.
It did, and I don't know. That scene is one of my favorite scenes. But I think it's interesting. And my other favorite thing is when he says, to me it's Thursday. And I'm like, oh, what a sad thing. And so, that's so sad. And I think, I want to remind everybody, if you're in the US and celebrating Thanksgiving, and we all know somebody who might think it's just Thursday for them to
Right.
maybe reach out to them and say, hey, it's Thanksgiving and we want you with us. I hate to think of people alone on Thanksgiving. So
yeah, it's that's not a great mental location to be. So you know.
Are you having a lot of people? Are you hosting or are you going?
Oh, I'm hosting. Oh my God, am I hosting? Yeah.
Yeah.
We're doing things a little bit different here at the Kundas in Philadelphia this year.
Mm-hmm.
This year, each family member is going to stalk and hunt and kill their own turkey. They're going to pluck it. They're going to gut it.
Oh.
Then something I told my family I'd like them to do. I'd like them to grow their own potatoes starting last year. So they will be bringing their own potatoes, which we'll see how that goes.
An organic Thanksgiving.
Yeah, very organic, very, very much so. And then pumpkins. Everyone is required to bring a baby pumpkin, and then we're going to smash it together in a giant bowl here at the house. All our fingers will be in it. And the thing that we're going to do is we're not going to wash our hands before we do it because we want the earth's minerals in there. And we want it to be very organic. We'll be playing Alanis Morissette all weekend long. We want it to be very herbal. All right.
Yes. That was random.
Well, then here's one more random for you. We're going to cap off the day with a rousing rendition of Deo, with the Kunda family dancing around the Thanksgiving town. That's right. And then we go into so there's a Thanksgiving themed room and there's a Christmas themed room.
Right.
So we have these two. So it's going to be very interesting. And maybe we'll take some video to show
just beat me to it. I was going to say.
Oh, really?
I'm like, that's it. You need to take pictures and video of these events and post them.
I think Sue will get a kick out of it. Last year I had this, and then we're gonna get out of here because I'm already babbling far too long about nothing Rocky related. But last year we were all very celebratory because it was the first holiday since Sue's brain surgery, and you know, she's back to normal and kicking my ass and all those wonderful things. Perfect. So we were all really fired up, and I had been all year long, every month I had been getting this little black box that gets delivered. It's about this big, right? And it's a murder mystery dinner event.
Oh, okay.
It's a little murder mystery kit.
Yeah.
And you have to have all these clues, and then you got to figure out who did it. And so I have about 20 of them. And so everybody was really excited. After dinner is the worst time to do this because food coma.
I was going to say, everybody's like,
it was like 6:45 by the time we sat in the TV room, and we all had little notepads, right? We're like, we were so tired. It went nowhere. It died on the vine. So now I spent $30 a month for this stupid thing. I got in the back, and I wanted to get to the one that had the Titanic murder mystery, but well,
this year you'll have to do it this year.
Not with this crew.
Serve coffee right after dinner.
I might have to serve them needles with adrenaline in it and just spike it in their chest, a la Pulp Fiction. Anyways, I'm going on too long, and I could feel the views decreasing. All right, Mike, not for us. Not
I know.
Anthony, without Anthony, you're a loser. Get out of here.
Not the same.
It's not the
same.
Back
here.
Get out of here. So
you know what? I think I hear him.
You hear him? You listen.
I think I hear him.
Did he make it back? I think he made it back.
I heard a door slam.
Thank God, because I can't take this. I can't carry this. You can't carry this. We need Anthony.
It's not the same.
Stacy, will you take us out of here and take us into the interview?
Okay. I'll make sure he's on his way. Okay, we have our guest here, Lisa Bradshaw. Just amazing. She has started a project called the Don't Wait Project, and she's going to explain that. I just love the title of that, and she'll explain why. She's been through some very, very tough things, and she's managed to find the silver lining, and she's managed to draw the silver lining, actually. Very, very interesting story, and how Stallone inspired her from the very beginning, which is just the coolest story as well. So, Anthony, is she here? Bring her on in.
Lisa is here.
Yay. Hi.
Hello, Lisa.
Hey, Lisa.
We meet
Welcome
again,
to the Rocky Files.
I know. I'm so excited to get to just talk about Rocky for however long you guys will let me.
Yeah, right.
Oh, wow.
Guys,
Go
listen.
on forever.
We have a serious contender here, okay?
Mhm.
We're dealing with a
Right.
professional. Okay.
Absolutely.
Oh,
We're dealing with someone who's a professional interviewer. I know
Mhm.
because she took me to task and really had a great conversation. It was
Mhm.
fantastic. So we
That
cannot
was a great
be
interview.
we cannot screw up like we usually do every show.
No.
We can't, okay?
No.
We
No.
really, we've got, even though she's like, what shoe size are you, Lisa? You're like a 6.5 or something?
About that.
Yeah, he's a 6.5. So we have like medium shoes to fill here, but a big personality. So
Oh.
That's funny.
100%. Yeah,
we would
she
be
doesn't mess around.
on target. On target.
The title of my book is actually Big Shoes. Isn't that funny? We're
Yeah.
talking about
See,
shoes.
I love
Nice
that.
segue, Mike.
Yeah.
That's
He wins the Segue
He's become the
Award.
Segway master. That's
Yeah.
what he's become.
I've been watching you, Lisa. I've been studying your work. So believe
Uh-huh.
me, I'm not your average schmuck. I'm just a 3/4 schmuck, okay? So
From the neighborhood.
your book, Lisa, let's talk about your book for a minute.
Sure.
Why write a book?
Well, it started out as just making sure I didn't forget or lose track of the details, because the book is titled Big Shoes, and it's based on the year-long illness that my husband endured, and then the 7 years after he died. And the whole premise of the book is just, how am I going to maneuver being a really good mom and being okay with not being a dad too?
Right.
And our son was just 5 when his dad died. So it started out as just wanting to make sure, kind of archive things so our son would know later.
Right. Mhm.
And I suppose I could have put it in a drawer and saved it for him, but I just felt like it could help other people.
Mhm.
Right.
And
right.
yeah, that's all. That's pretty much the only reason I do any of the storytelling stuff, right? Is to try and reach other people.
Right.
I think helping other people is one of the kindest, most gracious things we can do as humans for one another. The empathy and the compassion. And when I saw that with you, I was so impressed and blown away with everything you had gone through in your life. I mean, give us a little overview. What? Yeah, that's it. Stace, right? That's what
Right.
we were
I
talking
was
about.
going to say I forgot to mention, I should have said in your intro that this lovely lady also has a TED Talk out there, which was very, very inspirational, which I did watch and I was blown away by it. And I loved how you summarized right from the Stallone all the way through. Those bullet points were perfect if you want to talk about it in that way. Yeah.
Well, I think everyone in their lifetime should give a TED Talk, even if you don't do it on a TED Talk stage, because it really forces you to chip away at get rid of the extra and just you're left with what's really important. And so that's what I did. And I can get to that later, but there was no way I could leave Rocky out of that TED Talk and Sylvester Stallone. But I had cancer when I was 25, and it was the beginning of me starting to try and figure out the balance of, when bad things happen, how do you balance them with something good? And when I was a kid, I was 8 years old, and I was in this tree in our neighborhood. I remember it well. All the kids were gone. We lived on a dead end street, not a fancy cul-de-sac, but just literally a dead end street. And we could play till dark and all of those things that we were so great about growing up in that time. And I remember being up in that tree and just really starting to follow my neighbors to church and having a lot of questions about God and my purpose. And I was 8 years old. And I remember feeling like my life was going to be arduous, but it could be equally rewarding. And so the first really horrible thing that happened was cancer. So once I got better, I wrote a book back then. I think I helped some people through their own cancer experience.
Of course.
And so then that was the balance. And I also faced risk of infertility. Wesley and I, we got pregnant pretty easily after we waited the 2 years the doctors recommended we wait, had a healthy baby. There was another balance. So later, when my late husband got sick from just a real freak thing that happened, he was cleaning out an old cabinet in our garage, and it had mold and droppings and an old bag of fertilizer. And he complained of shortness of breath that day, and then got sicker and sicker, multiple hospital stays, and eventually a year later, to the day of him cleaning out the garage, he received a double lung transplant.
Wow.
And he died 6 weeks after. And so then I am there again in my search, like, what is the balance to this? What will ever be the balance? And so I think that that's part of why I started the Don't Wait Project. And I started it as I was writing Big Shoes, and just thinking about the people who were dedicating their time and empathy, 382 pages of our story,
Right.
and what could I give back to them when they finished reading, when they put it down. And that's when I had the idea for the Don't Wait Project, to get people thinking about the things that they wait on, and to just not do that, and not a bucket list that, what do we do if we die tomorrow?
Right.
I wouldn't be here with you guys if I only had a day to live. I'd be with my kid and some other important people.
Right.
But
Yeah,
let's assume that we're here 100 years, and what are we doing with that time? And so that's where I've been in search of that balance of, so that not in spite of losing Wesley, but because of losing him, what can come from that? That's the goal.
that is the goal.
Wow.
Now, how on this show we talk about, how Rocky has been somewhat of a guiding light, a North Star, how it's inspired us, or just been there like a friend we confer with. For you, what is it about Rocky? Did it help you? Did it help you bring parallels to find that balance? Could you talk a little bit about that?
I saw Rocky, the first movie, when I was 5, and in the theater. So I'm 50. So I was 5 years, because it came out in 7 months. So it's 5 years. And it was the first movie that I watched that I remember wanting to sit in my seat and wait for the credits to roll and let the theater go black. And then that's an expectation, right? I'm 5. And that doesn't happen again for me until Good Will Hunting.
Right.
Wow.
And
Great movie.
Great movie.
another self-made movie, right?
Right.
And
Exactly.
and so for me, I think about the Rocky Balboa dialogue that happens outside of Adrian's, that's used everywhere about getting knocked down and getting back up. And we didn't have that dialogue growing up with Rocky. We had other anecdotes, but not that specific one. And so I think the biggest example I've ever seen of that getting back up and fighting is when Wesley was fighting for his life. And that 6 weeks in the ICU, I won't get into the horrific details, but to this day, there are doctors, his doctors are still my friends. And it was just, a man who didn't want to leave us behind.
Right.
And so, and there's something too about being loved by someone who's willing to have their lungs removed and have a stranger's replace them.
Yeah.
It made dating a little hard after that, because
the
bar is set
pretty
Pretty
high.
high bar.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
To be loved like that in my lifetime. So,
Yeah.
But I think that just all of these things that's why Rocky is so relatable. And to me, why Sylvester Stallone is so relatable. I mean, to me, it's those two very separate things, even though they're seen together. I've learned as much from each man, Rocky the character and Sylvester Stallone the man.
Right.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
It's so true. It's like they're one and the same. You can look at Sly's life and see so many parallels to Rocky's life. Obviously, he wrote it, but you can really, like, when you hear the man talk, it's just he personifies that character in a way, which is why he's so loved, I think, as well.
Well, and isn't Instagram a blast?
To
have interaction with him. And I mean, every once in a while he'll answer and make comments, and he shouted out to you the other day, Mike. But just to kind of, he's a brand, but he's not branding himself on Instagram.
Right.
Like so many people are trying to do. It's just authentic. It's just who he is. It's his message.
He just uses it. Yeah, exactly. He just uses it like we do. It's great.
He looks up to Rocky in a way as the same way we see Rocky as a symbol for all that's good or that could be good in us. I'll never forget. I've seen it in interviews, and he told me this himself. He is in no way as noble as Rocky. No way is he as noble. And he looks to that character at times where he himself falls short on inspiring himself. He told me, he goes, he can become very negative and moody and aggravated, agitated. And sometimes Rocky is what he, well, no, wait a minute. What would Rocky do?
Yeah.
It does inspire him because the character came from Stallone and from his own life stories and some other motivations around him. And he was smart enough, or maybe by his own words, lucky enough to tap into something. And I think it was all timing. Like so much of life it's all timing. It's just all timing, good, bad, and different.
It is. And it's also taking like that opportunity when he has felt in his life, like in the depths of hell on earth,
Right.
And if you pay attention and understand and have studied or learned or listened to his childhood and his adolescence, nothing pointed to him becoming what he's become.
Right.
Not one thing in his life except overcoming adversity. But to lock himself up in his apartment and black out the windows and get rid of his phone and to just hunker down and then have to go through everything that happened with, getting the script sold and all of those things. I don't know that there's, I could, he might have an answer, but that there's one pinpointed moment in his life that really prepared him for any of that. But it is about timing, but it's also about what he created for himself in that time.
Lisa, would you, there's something I'm a huge fan of a saying. I write about it quite often. It's timing and preparation. It's like you can have the opportunity, but if you aren't prepared, if you aren't working, you can get T-boned and it'll just pass you by. Forget about it. So I think for you, one of the things that comes, you just seem to consistently, I don't want to say that, not the phrase reinvent yourself, but you kept learning, you kept stretching, and the opportunities that came your way, to me, you seemed like you were prepared for these moments as they came along. Am I close or am I off?
I think that it's a bit of just figuring it out as I go.
Right. Sure.
When I was invited to give the TED Talk, and it wasn't at the best time. I was getting ready to go on tour. I had a lot of things going on, but are you not going to give a TED Talk? That's figure it out, those kinds of things. And a lot of it, most of it has been just trying to be an example to my son,
right.
And I can tell you, one of the hardest stretches of my life have been since he left home.
Really?
Oh, when he left home first for college, it was I think I was probably clinically depressed for a good 4 months or so. It was a really hauntingly familiar grief for me, where something had changed that I couldn't change back. That part of our life was done. He's doing great. And I've adjusted, but even him graduating college and now starting his career, I don't talk to him as much. He's busy. And so that's an adjustment. So I'm really now, as I enter this second half of my life, I'm really now just starting to think, what do I want?
Right.
Because who was I without Wesley? I didn't know who that was. And I don't know who, not being the everyday mother to Hunter. So now it's like, okay, so what do I want?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm curious.
Right.
Curious.
Well, let me ask you this about Hunter. Were you able to instill a Rocky appreciation for him? Has he seen Rocky? Does he understand it? Or is he like,
so funny? I wish I'd had it out. In his closet still today is a robe for when he was like 2 years old that I had monogrammed with his name on it because he'd just seen Rocky. He was like probably 2 or 3.
That's
and
awesome.
my kid's pretty smart. Every mom says that, but he spoke really young and loves to read and just got it. He understood Rocky pretty early. And so he's followed it through and he loves the Creed movies.
Yeah.
If any of them come on any of the marathons or any of the one shot movies, we will turn the channel, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I think most definitely it's Rocky and Star Wars. I don't, you know, if you don't know those two, then you probably can't be his friend.
So
we're gonna be good friends then.
Right. I'm gonna go out on a branch here, and I'm just gonna tell you, based on what you just said about Hunter, that right there tells me you're a damn fine mother. Because instilling Rocky in him will not only, along with your own strength of your highs and lows, peaks and valleys, that will, I think, give him some really great tools to handle what will come his way, as life surely does for everyone. As much as we don't want it to, it's probably going to at some point. So I think seeing your inner strength is something that will carry on through him, and you know, he'll pass it on as he goes.
Well, I appreciate that. I think that, you know, he's learned that most of the lessons come in strife, you know. And then you just try to appreciate what you have all of the time, but really start to, you know, when you come out of something that's been difficult, then you now you can reset and go, okay, these are the good things, and hold on to those good things, and try to go through a long span of no conflict and see what you get.
Lisa, for those of us, for our listeners who don't know, tell us about your show. How did that get going? And what's your show about? Overview, general, for those who don't know.
So it started with a radio show, and so I had a little internet company that I started. I don't know if you guys are Friends fans. The Friends show.
Oh, sure.
But
I remember that. Yeah.
I made the e-pillow on. I made the e-pillow on the wall in Joey's apartment.
Oh, neat.
Get out of here. That's
I had
great.
started an internet company that was intended to just be something I did while Hunter started preschool.
Right.
And then before I know it, I thought I had some marketing background from a publicist that didn't do a great job on my first book. So I learned you just pick up the phone and you call and you ask. And I thought, well, if I can get my pillows on a big TV show, then I can get third-party endorsements with magazines and not have to pay for advertising. And I didn't know that people were lined up to get their stuff on the Friends show. I just called up the set decorator. And that turned into something. And then it led to a lot of magazines and national television. And one of those visits was to Oprah Radio. And I had been on a gentleman's radio show. His name's John, probably 10 years before with my first book. And he was now a producer. And so I was on the show, a couple of different shows there. And he was saying to me, why aren't you hosting a show? And I said, well, I've thought about it. And so some things happened that week that got me pretty inspired. And I think it was around, I don't know, late spring or something. And I told myself by January, I'm going to have a radio show. And then January came and February came and I didn't have one yet. So I called up the local station here and reached out to the GM, and he said, okay, come tomorrow. And I thought, oh my goodness. So I put together, interviews I'd been on, I hadn't hosted yet. And that's how it started. And so I hosted the radio show there for about 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And then they started, there was a local television show station started here. And I was one of the people they invited to bring on and have the show. So it's called Life with Lisa. And it's really it's not about my life, but it is, I think having some life experience helps through the interviews because I can relate to hopefully a lot of what people share. And then I also get to go on these tours that Town Toyota Here Where I Live sponsors, and Toyota corporate matches their budget. So I go with a cinematographer and I travel all over the country and find people with their don't wait stories and interview them. And then it's on back at my show. So it's kind of evolved over the years from that radio show. And it's just another way of storytelling and trying to reach people with what they might need to hear.
Yeah.
Unless COVID pops up and screws up interviews in Philadelphia, which can be frustrating. Right?
Twice. Who wants to tell that story? I heard about that one.
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, it's such a frustrating story. So on Lisa's journey, this is one of the things that I love about this Rocky bubble universe we live in. And, quite frankly, I don't ever want to leave this little bubble because it's so good. You know,
I love that I'm part of your bubble now.
You are.
Oh, yeah. Well,
you are. Are you kidding me, Lisa? You're amazing, especially after some of the connections. So we all know Derek Wayne Johnson had done several movies with Sylvester Stallone, documentaries, and Frank Stallone. And he's an accomplished filmmaker in his own right.
For sure.
And and so Lisa, you interviewed him, right?
A couple of times. Yeah. We've become friends. Yeah.
Oh,
love that.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
And at one point, I think it was Derek mentioned, oh, there's this guy in Philly.
Yes.
And he mentioned my name because Derek and I are friends. And then it turns out we had another mutual contact, which was Mike Vitez, who wrote the story, Rocky Stories, the book Rocky Stories. And Mike he was a Pulitzer Prize winning writer, author, reporter, journalist, and he's a great guy. And I've done gigs with Mike. We've actually promoted our books. Me and Mike, we would do in the Philly area. We'd go down to the Constitution Center or what was it? The Visitor Center. And I would be dressed as Rocky, and there would be all these people passing through the Visitor Center, hundreds and hundreds of people on a Saturday. And I got the wool hat and the leather jacket on, and Mike's there, like, you know, the quintessential writer. And he's like, and I'm like, yo, why don't you come on over here to the table and see this guy? And I'm so busy barking to bring people to the table. Sue goes, Mike, Mike's selling books hand over fist. You haven't sold a book yet. I go, well, I'm bringing people over. And she goes, get over there and sell some books.
For him to sell books, right?
Yeah, you got to sell books. You got a mortgage to pay.
Yeah.
So anyways, Lisa reached out to me, and there was this whole little connected bubble, and we were all set. We were all set to go. But then the difficulties and the nuance of COVID, just things were up in the air a little bit. And so...
Well, the thing is that when we go on tour, we're in a different city with a different group of people every 2 days. And so that wasn't ideal. We could get to the next city and realize we affected somebody a city behind us. And then we're locked down for 14 days when the tour's only 30. So it just wasn't the right time. But spring, I'm thinking, will be the right time.
I cannot wait to give you a tour. Come down and just talk Rocky and laugh and have fun and just talk about life, whatever. I'm very interested in meeting you and crew and see what happens. It'll be fun.
Well, I have to ask you, did you find out anything about Mickey's gym? Is it still going to be there when we get there?
Yes, I did.
What's going on with all that scaffolding?
I kind of feel bad. I've been so busy. I never got to do a follow-up on it.
Who knows what's happening, if it's still there or not.
I know. So here's the other day I was talking with the stonemasons. They're on top of the scaffolding, and I yelled up. I got the Rocky hat. It was the funniest thing. And I'm in Rocky mode doing a ton. I go, yo, what you doing with the building?
What's happening?
And the guy looks down and he does a double take. And he goes, my God. He goes, I thought you were Stallone for a second. And I go, no, forget about who I look like. What's going on with this building? And he goes, we're just fixing the stonework. I go, so they're keeping it? He goes, oh, they're definitely keeping the building up. He goes, they're going to turn it into an apartments. So the exterior is going to be all fixed up. It needs a lot of work, a lot of TLC inside. The inside is down to the studs. So I'm happy to report. Now, I don't know if they're going to paint it a different color, but the fact that the building is still standing, I'm happy. I can live with that.
Yeah, we'll
live with that.
Yeah.
That's a big part of the tour, and for that to come down and put like a 7-Eleven or like a Wawa in there or something, that would break my heart. So, anyways, we're safe.
Yeah, I hope
I saw that on Instagram, and I knew you'd get to the bottom of it.
Right? Yes. Oh,
yeah. He put it out there, and that was like cut. Haven't heard a word of what happened if the building was still up or not. So good.
Anthony, I was getting it private messages. I probably only got maybe 40 messages or maybe 35 messages, and it was, I swear to God, one after another, all caps. Dude! Exclamation point. What's going on with Mickey's gym?
Yeah, because you said something not too long ago where you were not sure what was going to happen to it.
The guy that owned it, Chris Knowles, he owned it for about 7 or 8 years, and Stallone had gone to him and said, listen, I'll pay you cash if you give me a fair price. Well, he didn't give him a fair price. The price was $750,000 for the building, and Sly said, "Well, I'll give you $250,000 in cash." And the building needs a lot of repairs, so maybe they should have met in the middle. Anyways, as far as I know, Sly walked away and he sold it to someone else who he even told me that they were thinking about keeping it up, but he wasn't 100% sure. And so now, from the Stonemasons' point of view, they're telling me they're going to keep the building and turn it into apartments. So I feel a little better. Yeah, I know, right?
I hope they name it like Mighty Mix Apartments or something like that.
Yeah.
God would be cool.
That should be the Rocky Museum. That should be the Rocky Museum.
I know.
Like, turn that into a museum.
Well, they could all, Mickey's last name would be a good name for it.
Yeah, Gold Mills.
Gold Mill Apartments.
That's
whatever.
a great
Gold
idea.
Mill Place or something.
Gold Mill, yeah.
That would be so smart.
Gold Mill Farms or something.
We should submit those ideas to the builder.
I know. We can just punch them into submission.
Lisa, I had a quick question for you. I really liked what you said earlier when you're talking about Stallone and you're talking about Rocky, and they do have two separate, distinct experiences, and that you've learned from both of them separately. I didn't know if you'd mind just telling us what that difference is. What do you take away most from Rocky, and what have you taken away most from Stallone? Clearly, he suffered his own very profound losses, so he understands this.
Yeah, I think that. Well, the obvious difference is that there's the character Rocky, and then there's a storyteller, Sylvester Stallone, and I have learned from him probably the greatest lesson as a storyteller, and our story is only worth what we're willing to endure to tell it.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
And so that has inspired me to, no matter what I'm going through, understand that there's somebody else out there that needs to hear it, or I'm helping share someone else's story. And I do that with professionalism and respect and dignity toward that person. So I think that for me, Rocky, the film and the character, he'll go on forever, long after Stallone and we're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a beautiful thing. I mean, it's timeless, right? It's been years, decades.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then there's Sylvester Stallone, who can't live forever, but Rocky can live forever through him, or he can live forever through Rocky. And I think that Sylvester Stallone just has this way, talk about reinventing yourself.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
To me, Rocky Balboa is one of my favorites because it was complete redemption, I think. And I would have hated for it to end any other way, that series of films. And then, of course, who knew Creed would come, and that genius and all of it. So I think in answer to your question, it's just really the difference between the characters that he's created, and then he is the storyteller who figures it out, like how he's going to tell a story. And I've watched the documentary about him editing Rocky IV.
So good.
And just the way his mind works.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And he's so humble, and he's sitting there saying, 35 years ago, gosh, it was all about me. Get that tight shot of me off of there. Get that off of there. Get that off of there.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And wouldn't we all like to go and redo some stuff?
Yes.
Re-edit your life. Yeah.
And that was the thing. I got this red typewriter when I turned 8 years old. I think either Christmas that year, and it was plastic, and it had corrective ribbon, and that was a game changer for me because I'm a little bit of perfectionist, and when I write in my journals, if I don't like my writing, then I like rip out the page and start over when I was a kid. So this corrective ribbon just let me go. And I could write, and I could make a mistake, and I could fix it. And I think that is when really my life of storytelling opened up, because there was nothing in the way. And I got that typewriter because of Rocky and the storytelling and my understanding, especially as Rocky II came out. They talked a lot more about how this movie got made, because Rocky I, we didn't know if it was going to be successful yet when it first came out.
Right.
By Rocky II, you knew it was. So then that's when we're starting to hear all that he went through to sell the first one. And we're hearing it on like 1 or 2 news stations at night that my dad might be watching. We're not getting it through Instagram and social media. We're not getting it through all these ways. So I had to seek it out. So by Rocky II, I was starting to get that there's something to that, the discipline of storytelling. And it takes me to this day to be disciplined enough to to write, but also to decide what to write and to not be afraid of the stories I want to tell.
Right.
Yeah.
And not be afraid to ask someone if I can help tell their story.
Yep.
All of
Well,
those things.
that documentary was beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
I think I liked it even more than the film itself. It was, you know, I never saw his genius before.
Yeah.
Watching him, that was completely him, just in his element.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was just him. There's nothing there but just Sly and this movie, and we were just in on it. And I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the new cut because I'm waiting for Hunter to come home for Thanksgiving.
That was my next question. So that's
sweet.
out.
Right.
Do that together.
I was gonna say,
that.
what did you think of it? But yeah, well,
yeah, I was gonna go to Philly to watch it. And then I decided, no, I'd rather buy a ticket in the city where my son lives, because where I live isn't big enough that they were doing a screening. And then I was sick, so I didn't go. And I thought, well, we'll just wait and watch it here.
Yeah,
That's
I
sweet.
love that. Oh,
That's
no,
sweet.
that is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Lisa, one of the questions I have, I wanted to ask you this when you were interviewing me for your show. I'm intrigued by what you have in back of you on your wall. Are those inspirational sayings? Are there pages from your book? What is that?
So part of what I've ended up doing through different things in the community, I partnered with a friend, Melissa. We did a series with local students here where we interviewed seniors in our community. We called it the Don't Wait History Project.
Mm-hmm.
And we did it. It opened in our museum, and then it traveled to a couple different venues in our city. And then when I celebrated 20 years as a cancer survivor, I did a call out for cancer survivors in our community, and I gathered them all and answered them all the same, or asked them all the same 4 questions, knowing I'd get all different answers, and create an exhibit for that. And then the tours, each time I get ready to go on tour, I create an exhibit from the tour before, and it goes on display for about 5 weeks or 3 weeks leading up to, or while I'm gone. So people can watch the videos from the stories, but these are quotes of other people.
Oh, I got you.
Oh.
That have inspired you or have
so they're
meaning?
content directly from, the History Project, or from the Cancer Survivors exhibit, or something someone said along the tour that held meaning for me. So I think there's only one quote of mine up there, and the rest are just people who this was content directly from those exhibits.
Wow.
I love that.
So this is my office.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Lisa, when you need to draw inspiration or motivation from something Rocky, what is it?
Well, again, I don't think I can separate the two. So it always comes back to, like when my husband was alive, he paid the mortgage. And so I wrote a book, and if it failed, it didn't matter. And I started a little internet company, and if it failed, it didn't matter. But I got to try all these things. And then when he died, it was like, well, something's got to stick. And I decided to leave that internet company. It was just a timing thing. It was time for me to move forward. And I thought, well, if I do the show and I start building the storytelling that I want to do, I can figure out how to feed my kid and feed my soul and be home by 3:00 every day when he gets home from school. So again, it was diving into that lesson that I learned at a young age about what we're willing to do to tell a story. And now I've found a way that I have these little buckets of passion that I earn a living at, and I never had to miss a thing with Hunter.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Timing and preparation.
Yeah.
To me, you had been preparing from a very young age, and I don't even think you realized you were preparing. I don't mean you're doing exercises in a workbook. I don't mean preparing like that. I mean, you had the real world School of Hard Knocks preparation thing going on, just living life, preparing in that mode. You could have been home doing your nails. You could have been whatever. I don't know, watching whatever. But no, you had something in you that you wanted to do. Okay, your husband took care of the mortgage, but not a lot of people who still have the cojones to go and do an internet company or whatever, writing or whatever it is. And so for me, this is something I find remarkable in people that try that. And it's not everyone is going to want to do something. Some people, they're very happy just being that worker bee, going to work, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the thing I find that is the biggest crime for all of us is when you have something and you're too afraid to try it, to try and reach for it because you're afraid to fail. Because that's what I did for 25 years. I knew what I wanted to do, but I was too afraid to do it. And I didn't want to learn how to do it. So I waited. Your thing about not waiting, the guy waited.
You and I have talked about that. You can't do that.
We did. And I find that very inspirational on your end. And I cannot tell you how impressed I am with all that you've done, come through and survived and just, I don't know, just kicking ass, man. I love it.
Yeah. Oh,
I appreciate that. I mean, kind of what's the alternative?
Right.
And my role as Hunter's mom has been just, I just wanted to make sure he ended up with a good life.
Yeah.
And I met his dad when I was 8 years old. We were kids. Yeah. And the first time I saw him, poor kid, I knew he'd be important in my life.
Right.
And I didn't know that I'd move there when I was 20. And if he didn't fall in love with me in a weekend, I'd move on with my life, and we fell in love in a weekend.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't seen him for a long time. But, I just, the stories only last so long until you just got to kind of try to live the new story. And now Hunter's grown and he's starting his own life and his own story. And thankfully, I'm part of his story. I told him around sophomore of college, I just said, how much time we spend together from here on out is entirely up to you. Cause I'm always going to say yes,
right.
But I have to, just as I learned when he was a toddler to protect him from light sockets, and when he's 5 from crossing the street, and when he was 15, I had to adjust my parenting based on his age. And so I'm always going to be his mother, but now he's 22. So what does that look like? And I'm a little slower to it the older he gets. I still want to, be the hands-on mom that's involved in everything.
Of course.
But my goal is to just make sure I'm someone he likes. Be myself, but be invited to the backyard barbecues because he enjoys his mom's company.
You'll be there.
Oh my God. There's no doubt about that.
Anthony, Stacy, before we let Lisa get out of here and go enjoy the rest of her late afternoon, any questions, anything you want to ask her before we get her out of here?
Go ahead, Stacy.
No, I don't have questions. I wanted to make a statement that you emulate everything about Rocky and Stallone in every way. I'm just like, as I'm listening to, and I had already gone through your Instagram page and read about your book and your cancer and Wesley, and I'm just like, you keep moving forward like Rocky tells us to do, and I thought it was the coolest thing that you said. What are you willing to go through to tell your story? I was like, that is so, I don't know, that's totally wrong with me, because like you said, not being afraid to reveal even, the toughest things or the most private things. You're doing that because what he went through to tell his story, what you're going through to tell your story, you're emulating both. And that's my closing thought on you. I'm wildly impressed with how you're turning something very difficult into something so positive. It's amazing.
That's
truly.
a huge compliment. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
I mean, I appreciate it very much that's your perception.
It is. It absolutely is.
You are super inspirational, super badass. I'm going to say super badass.
Hey, you know what?
You remind me of that. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you remind me of that in Sly's documentary where he said, in my life, the floor behind me disintegrates. I got to keep going. Yeah. And I see that with you. Like, you're super badass. Like, awesome.
Well, I was going to share that my son had a song written for me for my 50th birthday. And through one of those apps, and that you basically fill out a questionnaire and then write a song about it. And full disclosure, that's what I asked for my birthday. I don't know what the song's going to be. I don't know what the lyrics are going to be, but I said, that's what I want for my birthday. So he did it. And one of the lines is, "You're the most badass woman I know.
See?
See?
That's
And I didn't know, but I knew.
I love that line.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, this kid is no turnip, okay?
Yeah.
No,
This
he's
kid's a
not.
winner. Don't
No,
worry
he's
about
not.
him. He's going to be fine.
Oh yeah,
Lisa,
so fine.
the other thing, I'll ask you permission now. You have a song that you wrote.
oh, I do.
Yeah, can we play it? Can we
Oh.
clip it in when
Oh,
we do
for
editing?
sure.
Okay.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that is a really, that's it. Do you want me to tell you how that happened?
Yes.
Sure. Yes.
Okay. So in 1992, my grandfather died. And I had moved to Houston by then to be with Wesley, and I lived in California. And every time I thought of my grandpa, I felt sad. And then finally one day I'm driving down the road and I think of my grandpa and I'm not sad. And so I pull over and I write on a napkin from the glove box and I write, the sad becomes a smile, and I find that all the while I was learning to let you go. And I put it back in the glove box and I thought, oh, that could be, I can't sing and I don't play an instrument, but somehow that could be a song someday. So then when Hunter was born, we bought a new car, and then Wesley drove the old clunker car that by now is, much older than when I wrote in the napkin. He drove that back and forth to work. So whoever had Hunter in the car got to drive the nice car. And after he passed away, several months later, I was selling the car, and in the glove box was that napkin. And I read it again and again and again. And I thought, well, it'll take longer and it'll probably be more intermittent, but I could get to the point someday where when I think of Wesley, I'm not sad, only sad. So fast forward to the 2019 tour. And one of the stops was in Nashville, and a couple of my best friends here flew out, and we spent the weekend and we filmed and ended up going to the Grand Ole Opry. And there was this woman there who was her debut performance. And now everyone is going to know her, Wendy Moten, because she's killing it on The Voice.
Yep.
She's on Team Blake, and she's been in this business for a long time. And a lot of people, of course, knew her before, but she hadn't had this platform. And so we met, ended up at the same bar after the Grand Ole Opry, and I interviewed her on my phone and we became friends. So fast forward to the shutdown, and I reached out to her and I said, hey, you want to come on my show and talk about what you're doing every day, since you're used to being on the road most of the time? And so we ended up chatting. Well, her partner in life, his name is David Santos, and he came on my show a little bit. And I reached out to Wendy and I said, hey, I have this line of this song I've been carrying around, and would you be interested in writing it with me? And she said, well, I'm not a writer, but David is. So send him your line, and if he likes it, he'll get back to you, but it could take him a couple days. And he replied right away. And he said, I love it. Let's do it. So he left all the melody and lyrics to me. I didn't even know really what a melody was. And he wrote the music for it. And then all these friends of his, Denny Hemminson, all these other people who play for Tim McGraw and Faith Hill, they're all home too. And they're all his friends. And they like this story. So we got this song made for next to nothing, because these performers, these musicians did this favor for David. And then we partnered with Donate Life America, the organ donation awareness national organization, and as a fundraiser for the song. So the song got written, and it was really just, it's called This Beautiful Life. And it's about, taking that one napkin from 1992 and all the things that have happened and raising my son without Wesley. And it's basically letting him know that we've built a beautiful life.
Yeah.
That's
so I would say that there is probably my biggest try, to get something done, and my effort, and to reach the most people I could who've been affected by organ donation. It is just a chance to try. And it's true, Wesley didn't get to survive it, but Hunter has grown up his entire life knowing what we were willing to do to try.
Yeah.
And so that getting that song made was, and I couldn't have done it without David. There's no way.
Yeah. eyes, your smile, your brilliant mind, your stubbornness, and yes, your kind. A lot like you, but more like me. I knew you'd matter from the start. Saved you a place deep in my heart. Some things are just meant to be. The deepest wounds, they never heal. But we move on, 'cause that's the deal. Come what may, your son, your wife, I know we carved it out. This beautiful life. We lost the fight, God knows we tried. You said be strong, you'll be alright. Just raise our son, you'll find your way. The years go by, I'll tell you this. Grief still shows up in what you've missed. But I've kept my promise every day. The deepest wounds, they never heal. But we move on, 'cause that's the deal. Come what may, your son, your wife, I know we've carved it out. This beautiful life. The sad becomes a smile, and I find that all the while I've been learning to let you go. Been raising up our little one. Our little one's now 21. And somehow I know you know. We've been carving out this life without you. The deepest wounds, they never heal. But we move on, 'cause that's the deal. Come what may, your son, your wife, I know we carved it out. Oh, the deepest wounds, they never heal. But we move on, 'cause that's the deal. Come what may, your son, your wife, I know we carved it out. God's on, I found my strong. Figured out where we belong. In this beautiful life.
So,
That's
That's a
amazing.
That's the story of the song.
Beautiful story.
well, we'll be
Beautiful,
playing
beautiful
that
story.
for sure.
Even more amazing.
If that's okay
Lisa,
with you, yeah.
Lisa, before Mike asks his final question, where can we find you and connect with you? Where can our listeners find you and connect with you?
I would say Life with Lisa Bradshaw on Instagram is probably one of the places, and
Okay.
the website is
Okay,
lisa-bradshaw.com.
we're gonna put it. We're gonna put it
Well, yeah.
below.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There
But
you
yeah.
go.
For
Yes.
Mike, you got one
The-
more question, don't you?
sure.
I don't know. I don't. Do
No?
I?
I don't know.
All right. All right. One more. Come on.
Come on, one more.
All right, Lisa. I like to ask everybody, if you had 30 seconds in an elevator with Sylvester Stallone, what would you say? Go.
Tell him about the red typewriter and the lessons he's taught me in becoming a storyteller. I think it goes back to my learning from him specifically. You know, there's Rocky the film, and there's him as a storyteller, these characters or real stories about real people. And it's about understanding the worth of a story and what we're willing to endure to tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
And without that lesson from him, I wouldn't have figured out that what I do for a living could actually sustain my son and I and have purpose and meaning, but also allow me to get home by 3:00 and be with my kids. So, and then hopefully that would lead to like, coffee in the lobby and,
right? Yeah.
hopefully
Living
that
the
would,
dream.
Yeah, once the
hopefully
door
that would
opens,
lead
let's
to,
go get a
yeah,
coffee. Come on.
exactly.
Come on.
So,
I can actually picture that. I can see you standing there in the elevator. He walks in, he's alone, doors closed. How you doing? I was 8 years old and I was given a red typewriter.
Yeah.
And you go right into it. And he looks at you.
Oh
And
yeah.
he
There's
would
coffee.
be absolutely. He goes, you got
I
10
think
minutes?
he'd
Come on,
stop.
let's go grab a
Yeah.
coffee. But seriously,
100%.
well,
he
100%.
literally loves stories like that. And just a beautiful sentiment, Lisa. Lisa, I really,
thank you.
no, seriously, we all really want, thank you so much for coming in
Thank
and
you so much.
giving
I
us
was
some of your.
actually a little nervous. And
I
I don't
was
really
nervous.
get nervous.
You're nervous.
I
You did
was
great.
nervous. You're a
You did
professional.
fabulous. Yeah.
That's funny.
The three of us, we're ham and eggers, as Rocky would say.
Oh,
That's what we
100%.
are. That's what we
100%.
are.
Look at my arms. Like I'm
Yeah,
nervous.
seriously. I can smell Anthony from here, and he's in Canada.
I'm in Toronto. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A long way.
But Lisa, you are a professional. You have earned that right. You've really worked your ass off to get there, and I wish you nothing but the biggest and best of successes for you and Hunter.
Oh, thank you. And I will see you in March.
Yes, you better believe it. You better believe it. Until then, Lisa, keep punching. You got it. Bye, Lisa.
Thanks,
Bye.
Lisa. Bye.
Guys, I mean, do we know how to pick guests or do we know how to pick guests?
Oh,
Yeah.
Big time. Stacy, well done again.
Thank you. Well, I mean, it's really Mike, because Mike knew her and went on her show, and I was just, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, she'd be fabulous. I looked
Yeah,
into
that's
her,
right.
and
Yeah.
in about 3 minutes, I'm like, well, this is a no-brainer,
Yeah.
what she's been through,
Yeah. Yeah. She's
and
really,
and just to listen to her say it, and just her face, her expression, and you can, the emotion is still so right there. The sincerity, she's just fabulous. She's just fabulous.
Mike, did you learn something? Did you learn something when you were on? Did you learn something even more than from when you were on?
Well, there was a lot we had discussed, and it was her thoroughness. It was her. There was something that sometimes people have an air about them.
Yeah.
There's just an air, whether there's an air of ego, there's an air of humility, whatever it is. And she had a very peaceful air about her. I really liked her. And at the same time, she had energy and she had a passion that came across. And when you see that in people, I meet a lot of people throughout a week or a month or a year. And believe me, there are sometimes faces blend together or blur, but sometimes people, they just stick with you. And it was the way she talked to me. It was the way that she listened. And I hope she felt that we did that back for her in a very respectful way, because what she's talking about is such a difficult thing. I'm sure once this podcast ends, this episode ends, we'll walk away and maybe hopefully people watching will say, my God, what if some freak thing happened and my partner's gone, and it's like, how do you go on? You have two options. You suck your thumb and roll into the fetal position, or you carry on, like Lisa did. You keep moving forward, and it is not that easy to do. I mean, I haven't had that much traumatic events, but the little I've had, it's difficult to move forward. I can't imagine on the epic level she's had to move forward.
I know.
So I know, next time I'm stuck in traffic, I'm not going to complain quite as much, because my complaints, what, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, my
I
God,
get it.
if she ever heard me complain, she'd like, okay, Rocky, okay, Mr. Philadelphia.
What are you complaining about, Rocky?
I know. I feel that way with my wife, with Sue, because, she'll have horrible days from work. And I'm like, I waited at a red light so long. Oh, it's bumper to bumper traffic on the Schuylkill, and I can't take it.
There's scaffolding around Mighty Mix.
There was scaffolding. I swear to God. All right, Anthony, here's a funny thing.
Yeah.
Come home last night.
Yeah.
Horrible day. Long day.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so I'm Oh, it sucks. Yeah. Hey, there's scaffolding around Mighty Mix Gym, and she's going through the bills.
Wait to get it in.
She didn't even answer.
Yeah.
Right? She didn't even. She's. I go. Did you hear what I said? There's scaffolding around Mickey's gym. Oh yeah. Oh, that sucks. What do you think that's about? And I can see she's just had such a horrible day, and I can't wait to talk about Rocky.
Yeah. Yeah, I love about her. I love how she can go from like premiere night where like she's like right in there with you. She's like in the trenches.
Oh yeah.
No matter what, take pictures. Yeah. And then there's the other side where it's like, yeah, I'm busy, don't care. Mm-hmm. What was around Mighty Mix Gym or what?
Right? Yeah, exactly. It's like, have you guys seen on TikTok? I don't know if you guys have TikTok or you guys do have TikTok.
Yeah.
Have you seen the lady that works on the ostrich farm and the ostrich comes running over hissing? She goes, so the ostrich would be over here and it's sneaking and then it's coming at her and she senses it because she's got the phone up. She can see it. And she goes, shh. And she puts her hand and it just stops.
No way.
That's I'm the ostrich coming at her to talk about Rocky. And she just goes
enough.
Again, there is no one more supportive when it comes to this Rocky stuff than she is. But you got to pick your shots, Mike. You got to pick your shots. You just cannot hit her. Yeah. Hey, you know what happened to Mickey's gym today? I know you had a bad day, but you know what happened on the tour today?
Yeah,
it's just
you got to put her in the corner. You got to corner.
Pull back, champ. Pull back.
Yeah, pull back. Yeah, but
anyways, Lisa was tremendous. I'm looking forward to meeting her and her crew in Philly, hopefully in March or April, whenever that happens. And again, Lisa, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, she was awesome.
Yeah.
Listen, 100%. Before we close this out, what do we got? What do we want to talk about? Is there anything we've missed?
I have two things.
Yep.
And you have it too. Are we going to brag about what we have, Anthony?
Oh yeah.
Ready?
This is hot off the press.
Hot off the press. 1, 2, 3.
Let's go. Oh, yeah. This is amazing.
That's beautiful.
Right. We just
got them.
We didn't get them. Sandra got it.
Right?
Yeah.
And my dear friend Michelle.
They were given
2
to us.
copies. And she brought it to me. Yeah.
Literally, like just before the show starts, she's like, "Look what I got you." And
see.
So I haven't even torn into this yet. It still has new book smell.
Yeah.
So
new book smell, right?
Can't wait to open that, read that, and then we'll talk about it next week.
And my second thing, I do want to just shout out for Anthony. I am getting into editing and with Mentel, and I want all you Rocky fans to know, the community out there, how much time is required behind the scenes to get this thing going.
A little bit of time, right?
It's a lot of time. And I just want to say thank you to Anthony, because I know how he works a ton and he's editing, and I know how long it takes me to edit 5 minutes, never mind an hour and a half. And we appreciate all that you're doing. Really,
thank
Anthony.
You so much. Thank you so much.
Serious.
And it's not even like I'm not even like editor of anything major. This is like child's play to a real editor, and that's
you're getting fancier though. You're getting fancier. Yeah,
but if
we're trying to spruce it up a little bit, right?
If it's child's play to you, then I don't even know what I am. Then I've regressed back into the womb because I can't do any of that. Are you kidding me?
Right.
There's nothing.
But never mind, we can't do what Stacy does on a daily basis, which is, pretty much run everything, field emails and text messages.
I'm a post. I just post like a crazy person.
She's the Rocky Files mom.
Yeah, she's the Rocky Files mom.
100%. She is. We're the 100%. two drunk cousins that come slamming in 20 minutes late. We ready to do the show?
We just come in.
That's us.
The show now.
Wait, what do I know with the show, huh, Stacy? She's cracking us over the knuckles, a ruler.
100%. But
that's it. We're just goofs. We're just goofs. All right. Well, listen.
Yeah.
What a great show.
Great episode.
Now, listen. Last thing. Stacy's doing a podcast. Mentel. Where can we all find? Where can we find it?
Yeah, thank you. On YouTube, the channel's called Stigma Does Not Define Us. Episode 1 is out, and
it was awesome.
Thank you. Every Monday,
it's
going to be
awesome.
Out. And then the Instagram page is also Stigma Does Not Define Us.
Beautiful.
And episode 2 is?
Episode 2 is about this gentleman, Dave, who again, we're interviewing guys who have been through stuff and have asked for help. And now Dave's story, wait till you hear what he's doing. It's so cool. What like Lisa, you know what I'm saying? Taking pain and turning it into something,
and turning it
to as service to the world, to the community. It's amazing.
It's awesome.
Anthony, what do you do? I mean, you're plumbing. You're saving the world from blocked whatever. You're a valuable human specimen. So where can people find you to help them with their plumbing needs, Anthony? Where's the link?
Only in Toronto. There's no link for it, unfortunately. Only in Toronto. You got to be a private subscriber. But I have one thing that Roz sent in to you. Let's just show this video.
Go ahead. Throw it up.
This is from your tour, right?
Yeah, Roz did
the Rocky Run.
Yeah, Roz did the Rocky Run. She was a guest on our show a little while back, and she is a phenomenal. She has a phenomenal weight loss journey. She is a brilliant, wonderful, kind human, and her husband's a pretty nice guy too. So roll that footage.
This is from Mike's phone. So here, this was Roz.
Okay, well, here we are, another day on the Rocky Tour, and today I got one of our favorite guests from the Rocky Files podcast. It's me, and you guys remember Roz, right? Yeah! Look at her. She's decked out in her Italian specialty wear. She looks like a Power Ranger, a superhero, and she's got her medal from the Rocky Run. Roz, how was the run?
It was fantastic.
That's awesome. Now listen, if there's one thing you could say to Sly, what would you say to him?
Thank you for making these films. It's had such an impact on my life, and it's amazing, and I will keep punching because of you.
Keep punching. You see? She listens. Keep punching.
I
love her. She's awesome.
I love it. I love that medal. That is so cool.
Cool.
What you guys didn't see, she had two bodybuilders helping her carry it around. they just eat like this. Yeah. Right. And then she went to try it by herself. By the end of the tour, her biceps were like Ferrigno's. They were just, she was amazed. Amazed at it.
I can't imagine doing something like that. She really is.
She's fantastic.
The tour
guys,
awesome.
This has been episode 16. And if you're dyslexic, 61. And we're having more and more fun as these episodes go by. So we thank you all for tuning in and watching and listening to us get goofy and silly. And our profound guest this week, we thank you all so very, very much. Guys, keep
as always
punching.
Punch it.
Booyah.
Good night, everybody.